fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
The parabolica, that's beautifully done there by Kashuba. There's a little bit of door banging as well.
After 6 hard and fast weeks of wingless sprint car racing, it all comes down to this. This is the final round of the Australian Wingless Sprint Racing iRacing Super Series Invitational from the magnificent Eldora Speedway. And we've got a 3-way championship fight at the moment coming into this final round. So coming out of this, we're going to crown a champion, and it is going to be dramatic. My name is Reese Gardner, and joining me in the commentary box tonight for the final time this season, Cameron Dance. Cam, it's been a short season, but at the same time, it's been a long one as well. These drivers have battled hard in these fixed setup wingless sprint cars to try and see who is the best in the sim world. Of course, all of these drivers with real life racing experience down here in Australia. We've had some royalty from the real world of speedway racing grace us this season, but we've got a magnificent fight coming up here at Eldora.
Yeah, we absolutely do. It's nothing in it in the points heading into tonight, and it's anybody's guess as to who's going to take this out, because you've got 3 people who could effectively win this thing at some point in the night. So it'll be really interesting to see who comes away with it. We've seen plenty of amazing and close battles all season long. So looking forward to finishing this one off and seeing who we crown as our champion.
Indeed. And what a place to do it as well. The magnificent Eldora Speedway. And this place in Rossburg, Ohio, USA, has certainly been a cathedral of dirt speedway racing since it opened in 1968. It's a half a mile long oval, very wide, very fast, with some very extreme banking. And it's going to mean that the drivers are going to be using the full width of this circuit throughout the course of the night. And we'll certainly see a lot of slide jobs, maybe a few right rears being fed to the wall as well.
Yeah, we certainly will. The big, wide, high banks of Eldora certainly put on a good show. And like you said, Reese, it really ends up coming down to who can run that wall as close as they possibly can without ending up right in it come the later stages in the night. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this track forms and how many people get claimed by that concrete.
Yeah, there's sure to be at least a few tonight because wingless sprint cars relying on momentum and mechanical grip more than aerodynamics. Of course, they are wingless for a reason, and pushing them into the turns really hard, almost backing it in. You don't have much control over your car if you get your entry wrong, and the wall is just going to be waiting for you to claim you if that is the case. Before we get into the session proper, let's take a quick look at the championship standings because, my goodness, how close is it up the top? We've got Chris Temby, Todd Hobson, and Amy Shute all within a few points of each other at the top of the drivers' standings. And these drivers have all had varying fortunes over the course of the season. Temby and Hobson with some very strong drives, particularly at the beginning of the season, but falling off slightly in the last couple of rounds, and Amy Shute with some good consistent results, keeping herself in that championship fight.
Yeah, it's been a very mixed bag of results for a number of those three, and really it has just come down to being consistent and scoring points at the end of the day. That's all it's just been a matter of, and Amy's done very, very well to do that over the course of the past few weeks, and she's had some reasonably good pace and could have even won a few features possibly, but unfortunately just luck wasn't quite on her side at those times. So we'll see what happens tonight, whether she can finally get that feature win or whether she could possibly come out of nowhere and win the championship even.
Yeah, exactly. With only 13 points separating herself and Chris Temby, with Todd Hobson smack bang in the middle, this could go any of three ways. And we can't count out Dane Bentbelsen either in fourth place, the 2019 national wingless champion. He's currently sitting at the top of the timesheets in the practice session. He's got a half a tenth or so over Ryan Harris in the number 57, who sits there in 10th place in the championship standings. But with a slightly reduced field from what we saw at the start of the season, it's going to be a bit easier for the drivers to get their way into the A main tonight, but it's certainly going to be hard to work their way up through the ranks as they have.
Certainly, it's looking like everybody's going to make it through to the B main tonight by the sounds of it, based on the numbers that we've got. We will have a B main, but it'll just be more or less sorting out those outside of the top 10 when we have a pole shuffle in the warm-up session. But nevertheless, it's going to be really still critical to score very, very good points in each individual session with qualifying heats and obviously the feature as well.
Yeah, exactly right. There's points given out for every session here tonight, and we'll see what we can do about bringing you how the points stand going into the A main, because we're sure to see some varying fortunes throughout the heats and in the consolation as well. Got to think about the pole shuffle, of course, as well. The top 6 in-round points are all going to come together and have a traditional pole shuffle with 2 at a time competing on track to decide who starts on pole position for this final round of the series. Thanks, of course, to the Tyre Factory Warrnambool and local print shop for their support of this series over the course of this 6 weeks. It's been a great season, and it's definitely going to be repeated here tonight. It is qualifying, though, and every driver has 3 laps with which to set a time. Currently, it's Tim Harris at the top of the timesheets. Ryan Harris, his brother, advancing forwards into second. Chris Temby immediately responds with a 15.3 and puts himself into second place in qualifying. Amy Shute is currently sitting in 5th place, and Todd Hobson has yet to set a time. Ryan Harris goes to the top, a 15.2. The times are going up and down throughout this qualifying session. What can Todd Hobson do in the final few minutes?
Certainly be interesting to see what Hobson can pull out of the hat, and whether Bentbelsen can as well, as he's not quite in the championship hunt, but we've seen him have very, very good pace. So it'll be interesting to see where Bent Belson puts himself. And Hobson is not too far away from getting his laps underway. He's just left pit lane as well. So we'll see where he can put himself in the qualifying order. But Belson has just registered a time and put himself inside that top 4 already.
All right. Well, if he stays 4th, then that means he'll be likely in a very good position in the heats. We'll see what Todd Hobson can do as he makes his way around the circuit. I noticed that he is using the high line to get that extra momentum off the front straight. He sets a 15.4 for his first time, which puts him just outside the top 10. We'll see if he can improve. And not able to see it 100% at the moment, but I can tell that Todd Hobson is working really hard with that car, keeping it nice and smooth. He's just gone half a tenth faster, and oh no, he's hit the wall on his final lap, so he's not going to be able to make an improvement on that. But nevertheless, the lap from Todd Hobson puts himself 6th in timesheets, which is certainly a good way to get his night started.
Certainly, it's not P1, but it's not last either. So still a reasonable place to put yourself in terms of a starting grid position for the first heat, that's for sure.
Exactly right. And looks like the vast majority of drivers have set times. Only driver that has not set a time yet is Brady Baldwin, and he's just gone and set a 15.5 to put himself a bit more towards the back of the grid. Of course, Brady Baldwin is our race director, and in this round he is running a very driver who Brady Baldwin knew and was friends with, and Johnson winning the 2016 Knoxville Nationals as well. A very storied career, but unfortunately he crashed, and it was the injuries sustained in an incident during a World of Outlaws event at Beaver Dam Raceway, and he succumbed to those injuries. So this is Brady Baldwin's little tribute to his late friend, and he's managed to improve slightly. A 15.534 puts him just behind Luke Redpath in the timesheets. Qualifying is now over, and we're going to move forward into the heats, and it's going to be a bit of reduced running tonight, but the competition is just as intense. Heat 1 grid then. Kyle Mock and Mitchell Broom are starting on the front row here, with William Lucas and Ryan Harris on the second row behind them. Kyle Leon and Dylan Williams make up row 2. We got 8 cars in this grid here for Heat 1. It's rounded out by Luke Sayer and Sean Fitzpatrick on the 4th row. Now, this is where things get interesting, because Eldora in a wingless sprint car, we've already gone over the pitfalls that you can go through around here. And when you're starting in a field of cars, the difficulty certainly piles up. The drivers will need to be very careful how they go about this, because they do have a lot of track to play with. But at the same time, certainly there's a lot of pitfalls to try and avoid.
Certainly is, and obviously with some of these drivers starting on reasonably fresh track as well for their heat, it's going to make passing that much more difficult. So you're going to have to set up a few slide jobs if you can, and try and outsmart and outdrive the drivers ahead of you, more or less. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and what sort of lines we might see from some drivers to try and get positions gained. But nevertheless, it's going to make things very difficult for a lot of these drivers.
Indeed it will, and it is a top 4 invert for the heats, as has been done throughout the season. So it's going to be Ryan Harris, who would have started on pole for this heat were it not for the invert. He's going to have to make his way past a couple of cars if he wants to take a win here. And the heats are 10 laps long here at Eldora, a little bit of an extended distance compared to what we've seen in heat race lengths in the rest of the rounds we've run this season. But it's all going to be about the start. In comes the pace truck imminently, and the green flag flies. We are away. Kyle Mock gets a very good start, and it looks like he's managed to... Oh, he puts it a bit high, and right there, Mitchell Broom with the over-under to take the lead. That's an excellent run there, and he's running the high line to try and take advantage of that, but there's been a crash in the back. Kyle Mock getting into William Lucas and Kyle Eon, and that's resulted in Eon with some damage, and he's unfortunately had to retire from this heat. Not a great start for Kyle.
Certainly not too ideal of a start for Kyle, unfortunately. So he's going to have to sit this one out and have to do his way through the B main. But that said, he does have that little bit of spare change in his back pocket, knowing he's going to be able to make the A main regardless. So he's going to not lose out too badly. But at the moment, Luke Say is coming under a lot of pressure from William Lucas.
Yeah, he certainly is. Luke Sayer there in the number 58 with William Lucas pursuing. Got to remember Dylan Williams behind them as well in 5th. Oh no, looks like a bit of trouble for Sean Fitzpatrick down there on the bottom. He's letting them go, being a lapped car. Looks like they've all managed to get by him except for Ryan Harris, who's come together with him in the middle of turn 2. That has really not helped Ryan Harris's. Oh my goodness. William Lucas with a spin as well. That's a big disadvantage for him. Was running quite well, but he's fallen back. And it is on for the lead, or it would have been if Kyle Mock had not just hit the wall. He manages to keep it going though. Mitchell Broom is under immense amounts of pressure right now as they come around to start lap 8.
Doing a fantastic job applying the pressure to the back of Mitchell Broom at the moment, and they're just so equal. And this is the difficult part about being on such a fresh track, is that you're constantly trying to find a way to try and close that gap ever so slightly, but it's just so equal between the two of you that you're just constantly fighting a losing battle. But Mock's still trying everything he possibly can. He's got a ever so slight edge at the moment running up against that top side, but now Broom looking to a bit of a slide job line to try and get a bit of difference, but doesn't seem to be working too much.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working at all, and as they come around here to take the white flag, it's going to be an attempted slide job from Kyle Mock, and he is down on the inside. Can he get it done? Oh, there's a bit of contact there. Mitchell Broom serving him the left rear, and it looks like that's going to be what it takes for Mitchell Broom to cross the line ahead and take the win here in Heat 1, with Kyle Mock finishing 2nd, Luke Sayer and Dylan Williams 3rd and 4th. And it looks like they're all both going to go through to the A main here tonight.
Certainly all very, very good race, and very good race actually between not only the top 2, but also 3rd and 4th as well. So very, very good to see, but we'll be interested to see what happens here in Heat 2.
Yeah, it certainly will. Here is the grid for this 7-car field. Amy Shute and Gavin Fitzpatrick starting on row 1, with Dane Bentbelsen and Tim Harris in 3rd and 4th. Andrew Sayer and Luke Redpath in 5th and 6th, with Blake Walsh the final car in this 7-car field. Now, Amy Shute racing in that championship hunt, sitting in 3rd. And her championship rivals are not in this heat, so it's going to be a good opportunity for her to get a good points haul if she can hold off the advances of Dane Bentbelsen behind. And she's also got to worry about Gavin Fitzpatrick and Tim Harris too. Can't count out Andrew Sayer either. In fact, I'm just going to extend it and say this entire field is capable of winning this heat.
Absolutely. It's a very, very stacked heat, this one, and anyone, like you said, is capable of winning it and putting a challenge on for the lead of this race. So it's going to be one to watch for sure, and one that you're going to need to buckle up for, because it's going to be very, very busy with all these drivers in with a chance of throwing a slide job up the inside or throwing it to the lead.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to wait and see what goes on here, because it's going to be a hard one, very tough. The pace truck pulls in and we go green, and it's actually a good start, an even one from Gavin Fitzpatrick and Amy Shute. They fan out and shoot with the inside. Gavin Fitzpatrick made some contact there. It was Tim Harris getting into the back of him, and Luke Redpath involved as well. So that has put Fitzpatrick all the way to the back of the grid, and Andrew Sayer now pressuring Dane Bentbelsen for 3rd place. Not if Blake Walsh has anything to say about it. He works the inside, but Shute currently has the gap she needs.
Certainly, Shute doing a fantastic job on the top side of the racetrack, but Blake Walsh making that bottom side actually work quite nicely in 3 and 4. Didn't quite have it in 1 and 2 last time by, but now Bentbelsen all over the back of Amy Shute here, and now it's a 4-car train for the lead of this race, and a big slide job from Andrew. Contact between the two, more contact going on, but they all save it.
Wow, they all managed to keep it going. Amazing, but that has put Amy Shute back into third, and she'll be under threat for fourth. Walsh gets up into second, but Dane Bentvelsen now has a great gap at the front of this one. He's going to make sure to capitalize on that, but the fight is on for second. Walsh versus Sayer versus Shute. And Shute going down to the inside, trying to get a run down the back stretch on Andrew Sayer. She's not going to get it done that time, but the slide job is on, and it looks like she's just managed to make it work, but Sayer well prepared for that with a run back up the inside. And Blake Walsh, oh no, bit of contact there. Sayer getting into the back of Walsh, and Sayer all the way to the back of the grid now as a result of that. The crash continues. That has really put the bad on Luke Redpath there. But Dane Bentvelsen and Blake Walsh are going to be leading this one. Amy Shute down in third, Tim Harris in fourth. Amy Shute's starting to come under a little bit of threat here, but it looks like the fight at the very front has calmed down for now.
Certainly has, but Shute running some decent laps here. Actually, is quicker than Blake Walsh and not too far off what Bentvelsen is as well. So they expected to possibly make a little bit of a comeback here towards the front of the field, but it's going to probably run out of laps by the time she gets to Bentvelsen. But she's all over the back end of Walsh here and is going to look to try and make him move. Not quite, but Walsh gets a little bit loose and decides to go down to the bottom. A bit of a slide job move, but Amy going to try and drive around the outside.
Yeah, getting into the wall though, that's not going to help her. It is white flag for our leader, Dane Bentvelsen, number 32, and he has managed to rise above all the chaos that we've seen in this heat. Crossing the line to take victory. Shute has spun right in the final corner, and it looks like she might be under threat there. She's not going to make it through, is she? Yes, only just. She just holds off Gavin Fitzpatrick for fourth and gets a ticket into the A main. What a finish.
Certainly not quite what she probably wanted, but nevertheless still got inside that top four and made it an automatic transfer to the A main. So now this one's going to be interesting because the two title rivals at the moment are in this next heat.
Yeah, that they are. The Heat 3 grid is as follows. Harley Parr and Sean Clapp on the front row. Harley Parr taking victory earlier on this season. Two feature wins to his name, thanks to the issues of others. Todd Hobson and Chris Temby, the championship rivals, starting together on the second row. Stephen Haitley and our race director Brady Baldwin start in 5th and 6th. And rounding out the field, it is Ben Polyansky in the number 91. Now, Harley Parr knows what it's like to take victory in the sim, but so do Todd Hobson and Chris Temby. These guys are certainly going to fight hard for this one. They realize that every result is going to affect the championship in some way. If Temby wants to try and hold off the advances of Hobson here, he has to finish ahead.
Certainly does, and it's a matter of just getting that extra little bit of points that Temby needs if he wants to try and hold on to this lead for as long as he can before they get to the A main. So if he can finish ahead, he'll be happy and with it and have a buffer going into this A main. But yeah, if Hobson wins this, it'll really tighten things up heading into that A main.
Yeah, for sure it will. Well, now we begin the wait to see the green flag fly, and Harley Parr is going to lead them away. The green flag flies, and away we go, and the number 69 ahead. Have a look at Todd Hobson going straight down to the inside. Chris Temby lining up that straight exit in the 89 to stay with them. As they come through into turn 4, it is Harley Parr, it is Todd Hobson, it is going to be... Wow, have a look at that slide job from Brady Baldwin to make it up into second. He was fighting there for third, but now he's really mixing it with Temby and Hobson, using the high line once again, but it looks like the low line seems to be falling into favour with our front runners.
It certainly does. There's starting to be a little bit of a slick patch on the top side into the corners of turns 1 and 3, so we're going to start to see more and more drivers using that bottom side, but even the bottom out of turn 2 and 4 is starting to look like it's starting to slick up a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But it's a 3-wide battle for the past 2 laps for this lead.
That is incredible there. Brady Baldwin sticking the car on the inside and working it beautifully. And with that slide job, it looks like he's just managed to secure the lead, and Harley Parr isn't going to be able to respond. Chris Temby, with a big slide up top, has allowed Todd Hobson back into the hunt. But very close coming into turn 3. Oh, bit of contact, and it looks like Harley Parr finding the wall. He's falling back into 4th place. Hobson nicks the wall as well, but Chris Temby now is on the charge, heading up Brady Baldwin, who has found himself in the lead of this heat. Incredibly close racing as we're now past the halfway mark and coming round to start lap 7.
Certainly Baldwin's been doing a fantastic job out the front, but he doesn't quite get that good of a run off turn number 2. And now Temby's going to look to the inside with a slide job. No, he's going to stay down on the bottom side, and Brady's going to try and square the corner off, and it seems to have helped him a little bit. But Temby with a slide job up the inside of turn number 1, and that's going to give him the lead.
Yeah, he's getting on the throttle nicely, holding the line well around the outside. Baldwin trying to respond with a slide job of his own, and Chris Temby sees it coming and sides his way back down the inside to take the race lead back. Todd Hobson right now is going through that pile of clay up at the top, which is sort of helping him with his momentum. Baldwin continuing to protect the inside, but that slide job not going to work. Temby back in the lead as the white flag flies. Who is going to take victory here? Is it Chris Temby, Brady Baldwin, or Todd Hobson? Who is it going to be? There's Baldwin on the inside with a mega slide job. He's not going to be able to get it done, and Hobson's going to respond really well as Chris Temby wins and Hobson takes 2nd. With Baldwin in 3rd, Harley Parr, our pole sitter, holds on to finish in 4th, and he will make it into the A main.
Yeah, fantastic race up front there in that heat, and it just goes to show that this field is absolutely by no means not lacking any talent. So it's incredible to see that these guys can just throw slide job after slide job with each other and give each other plenty of respect and room, and know that everybody's going to come out one piece.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now it's time for the B main, and we got a 10-car grid for this one. These are all the drivers that weren't able to make it through based on results in the heats. It's going to be Ryan Harris and Gavin Fitzpatrick starting on the front row, with Sean Clapp and William Lucas behind them. Redpath and Haitley in 5th and 6th, with Sean Fitzpatrick and Andrew Sayer in 7th and 8th. The 5th and final row is taken up by Ben Polyansky and Kyle Eon. This is going to be quite the interesting one. 2 extra laps that these guys have to play with in this B main. And looks like the track has worn in quite nicely, so there's going to be some challenges for these drivers.
Yeah, there certainly is, and it's going to mix things up because of the fact that you've got that extra little bit of challenge in terms of what the track's doing at the moment. So it'll be fascinating to see what the drivers do in terms of lines and whether we see any more close racing, but that's probably a given. So yeah, lane choice is going to be quite fascinating to see.
Indeed it is. So one more pace lap then behind the pace truck. Track state for the next session has been set to 0% by our race director, which means that the top 6 in round points are going to have quite a lovely fresh track to play with in the pole shuffle session. So Ryan Harris is going to be leading them away in the number 57. He would have been hoping for a better result from Heat 1, remember. He suffered some incidents. In comes the pace truck and the green flag is out, and it's a nice clean start from all of our drivers. But have a look at the number 35 of Sean Clapp, and a huge slide job into turn 1 from Luke Redpath. Doesn't seem to have worked out 100% for him, as the driver in front of him suffering some technical issues in the number 91, Ben Polyansky. But it is on now for this 2nd place. Have a look at Sean Clapp trying to protect the inside, but Andrew Sayer with some extra momentum there up on the cushion.
Yeah, driving around the outside, and a big job in front of Ryan Harris goes to Andrew Sayer, but not going to make it work. And now Harris is going to return serve with a slide job into turn 1 and 2, but gets a nice exit, but an even better exit from Sayer here as they head into turn number 3. Slide job from Sayer, but Harris going to drive it back down the inside as they head down towards turn number 1, but it looks like Sayer's got this one.
Yeah, for now. Worth reminding that due to the smaller field size tonight, this B main is largely to set up the final 10 grid spots. So these guys are racing for a better starting position in the A main. Sayer has managed to hold on very well and is working the high line beautifully, as is Ryan Harris. They are leaving everyone else behind. Sean Clapp on the slick dirt is having a lot of trouble keeping the momentum up into and out of the turns, and Gavin Fitzpatrick struggling to find some grip as well. There's Sean Clapp in the wall. He's going to fall back out of the podium positions. Gavin Fitzpatrick now to third. Oh no! Ryan Harris over on his roof. Is he going? Oh no! Oh no, that's going to be a retirement for Ryan Harris, no doubt. He will still be able to start the feature, I believe, but that is not going to be the way he wants his night to go. He just clipped the wall on the exit of turn 2, and that's going to be a non-finish for Ryan Harris. Andrew Sayer is still up in the lead. Oh, it's a problem for Sean Fitzpatrick on the front stretch. He has stood still. That's not going to be good for the other drivers trying to make their way through. But it looks like Andrew Sayer all on his lonesome out in front, and despite hitting the wall a couple of times, he's got it sorted now. Gavin Fitzpatrick is fighting hard to hold on to the second place that he has at the moment. William Lucas tries the slide job and hits the wall. He is turned around, and that's going to be a retirement for him as well.
Yeah, really unfortunate for William Lucas. Just went in a little bit too hot and into the wall he ended up. But that was a really weird incident earlier with Ryan Harris. Not quite sure what happened, but he slowed down as he entered turn at number 1. So I wonder if there was maybe a technical issue going on that unfortunately ended his race. But nevertheless, currently Gavin Fitzpatrick doing a pretty good job in P2 at the moment, and not too far behind. Also, Sean Clapp doing pretty good to hold on to Ben Polanski.
Yeah, Sean Clapp has managed to sort out his pace for now, and it seems like he's got it done for that 4th place, really pressuring him. But up front, it's going to be Andrew Sayer on the final lap of this one. He goes for the late apex in the final corner and takes victory here in the B main tonight at Eldora. And Gavin Fitzpatrick is going to come across here to finish in 2nd. Gavin Fitzpatrick doing very well to hold on for that, and Ben Polyansky holding off the advances of Sean Clapp by 0.2 to claim 3rd. But oh, hang on a minute. It looks like the result has gone a little bit different there. Sean Clapp has been given 3rd, and Ben Polyansky ultimately finishing in 6th. I think there was an incident between Clapp and Polyansky in the last couple of corners. But there we go. That is the first round of racing over for tonight. Now, Cam, we move on to the pole shuffle.
Yeah, we certainly do. And it's going to be quite exciting to see who comes out on top on this one. That's for sure.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be the top 6 in round points, competing 2 by 2 to try and decide the pole for this session. Man, it's been very difficult for these drivers trying to make sense of this Eldora Speedway in these fixed setup wingless sprint cars. But now, as the calculations are done, we'll be able to get an eye on just who is competing for pole position. Todd Hobson is the first car out on track here, and it looks like the number 97 of Blake Walsh joining him out on track for the first round of this pole shuffle. It's going to be a short 2-lap race between these guys. The winner gets to move on to the next stage, and the loser, unfortunately, cannot take further part, but they will be starting in at least 6th position. So here is Blake Walsh and Todd Hobson. They are away, and it is going to be Todd Hobson leading into turn 1, but there's contact, and Blake Walsh immediately into the wall. My goodness, that is his charge over pretty much before it even started. Todd Hobson, all he has to do now is complete this next lap, and he has secured his ticket into the next round of the pole shuffle. I don't think Walsh will be too happy with that.
Probably won't be happy with what happened there, but just didn't really look like Hobson had the intention of making contact. So, yeah, really unfortunate there, but nevertheless, really unfortunate for Walsh, who's had to now settle for what is P6, although that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, not necessarily at all. Todd Hobson remains out on track and is joined by Kyle Mock in car number 1. Seeing these two matched up is certainly going to be interesting. We know the kind of talent that Hobson has under his belt, but Kyle Mock choosing to start on the inside for this next round of the pole shuffle. Green flag is out. It's a slightly better start from Hobson with slightly better traction, but Mock holding the inside and some tech issues for Hobson. That's resulted in a little bit of contact between the two of them, but Mock is holding him off very nicely. Starts working that mid to upper line in the corner entry. He secured it very well. One more lap to go for these guys. Can Hobson respond, holding the throttle wide open up the top? He's trying to gain some momentum and go for the move on the inside, but he's not going to be able to get it done. Mock just covers him off at the end of the run, and Mock is going to advance through. We say goodbye briefly to Todd Hobson. Next car out is Chris Temby, the championship leader going into this round.
So Temby's going to want to try and advance here to put himself in the best as possible spot for this A main with his championship lead now already slightly extended. But green flag is in the air and a pretty equal start from both of them, but probably more in favour of Temby here.
Yeah, Temby's managed to secure the lead going into turn 1. We'll see if Mock can respond here on the inside. He throws it in there, works the wheel incredibly hard, but Temby with the upper line seems to have the momentum sorted on corner exit and covers him off there, but there's big contact between them. They're going to keep going, and it looks like Mock has been the beneficiary out of all of that. A few car lengths back now is Chris Temby. He's not going to be able to respond to this. Kyle Mock is going to cross the line and finish ahead. Temby out of the pole shuffle.
Yes, certainly not too ideal for Temby there. He'll probably be a little bit filthy, but nevertheless, it's not too bad to be starting beside your championship rival. So we'll see what comes of those two in the A main. But now Dane Bent Velsen is going to be on track, so we'll see how this matchup goes.
Yeah, Bent Velsen is going to start on the inside here for what should be the final round of the pole shuffle. And Bent Velsen leads into the first turn. He got the power down beautifully out of there. Mock trying his best to keep the momentum up. He switched to the high line, trying to go for the late apex, straighten out the exit to try and gain some ground on Bent Velsen. But with one lap already over, it looks like that is a slowly losing battle. Bent Velsen just started, put the throttle down and has not looked back since. And he's going to cross the line here, and this should be pole position for Dane Bent Velsen for the last round of the AWSR Invitational at Eldora. No, my apologies. I have called it too early. A typical Reese Gardner mistake on a SimSpeed TV broadcast. My sincere apologies. This is the final round of the pole shuffle, and Mitchell Broom, the winner of Heat 1, out here with Dane Bent Velsen.
Yeah, this will be the one that we're going to be really excited about with these two. Very, very quick. Green flag is in the air and very, very equal start from both of them. And Bent Velsen's actually going to hold it around the outside. He's actually going to drive it around the outside of Broom here.
Yeah, and covered him off nicely on the exit too, not leaving the gap open for him to go through. And using the very low line is Dane. Shortest route around the track in terms of distance, but have a look at Broom putting the power down on the outside, really fighting hard for this one. Who's going to come through in front? Bent Velsen just ahead there. And that is going to be pole for Dane Bent Velsen. Mitchell Broom is going to start in second place. That's a fantastic run there from Dane. Came out and just did not look back. A great pole there for Dane Bent Velsen.
Absolutely, and remember he did win last time out at Charlotte as well, so it's a good start to try and go back to back here at Eldora. So we'll see what happens tonight, but nevertheless, grid is sorted and we're looking at a very, very good feature.
We certainly are, and that's going to be coming up very, very shortly. But we'll go on a super quick break here on SimSpeed TV. Now that the first part of the night is over, we've got a 40-lap feature coming here at Eldora Speedway. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're watching the Australian wingless sprint racing, iRacing Super Series Invitational, presented, of course, by the Tyre Factory Warrnambool and local print shop.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going in the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up the
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Welcome back to SimSpeed TV. It's time for the final A main of the season in the AWSR iRacing Super Series Invitational. The drivers just forming up on the grid now. We're getting ready for 40 laps of racing here at Eldora Speedway, and Dane Bentvelsen is going to be starting on pole. The championship fight is looking incredibly interesting with Temby on top, then Hobson, Shute, and Bentvelsen. They're all covered by 37 points, and it all comes down to this. Green flag, and Dane Bentvelsen is leading them away. He does well to hold off the charge, and he has the gap that he needs coming out of turn one. Mitchell Broom trying to take Kyle Mock on the outside, but Mock holds the inside beautifully with Chris Temby and Todd Hobson chasing behind. There's a crash in the background, and that's Andrew Sayer with heavy damage and out of this feature.
Yeah, very, very big tumble through 3 and 4 for Andrew Sayer, unfortunately, and he's going to have his night finished rather early. But at the moment, it's all on at the front of the field. Mitchell Broom coming under heavy fire from Kyle Mock. Then you got the 2 championship contenders, Chris Temby and Todd Hobson duking it out just behind, and just a little bit of a brush of the wall from Mitchell Broom there through turn 4.
Yeah, just a little bit, but he's got the late apex. He's going to try and go for it down the inside at some point, but struggling to maintain the momentum in the middle of turn 3 and 4. Temby pursuing hard on the inside, and this is going to really shake things up between himself and Todd Hobson. Whoever finishes ahead between them is going to take the title if they stay in the positions that they are, and it looks like Temby might still have enough to finish ahead of Hobson if he finishes behind him. But Temby losing a bit of ground in the last couple of laps. He's now under an attack from, it seems, the number 9 of Tim Harris.
Yeah, he's falling back a little bit. Mock's in the wall there, so he's now going to lose a position. Contact with himself and Temby, and nearly spinning out the car in the wall as well.
Out comes the caution. That was Sean Fitzpatrick, the ultimate non-beneficiary of all of that. He's escaped back to the pits, and he becomes the second retirement from our A main here tonight. This is only the first caution, and we're going to have a maximum of 3 cautions in this race, as we have for the whole season. So the drivers get an opportunity here to have a little bit of a rest, double file restart, and we can get to go again.
Yes, certainly. It's going to be interesting to see what happens off this restart. It was a heck of a battle going on just outside that top 3 between the 2 championship contenders, and Temby started dropping back a little bit, which was a little bit odd, and started to have a bit of pressure from Tim Harris. But it will be interesting to see what happens off this restart and whether Temby can try and take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here. I mean, Temby starting on the outside, but Todd Hobson, we know, races very hard against him. Dane Bentvelsen, it seemed, had quite the control over the field in that first stint of green flag racing. Amy Shute, meanwhile, she is down in 7th place, and she's going to have to make a few moves forward if she wants to stay in this title fight. So as it stands, Temby is still on top in points based on these positions. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when the green flag flies once again. They just got the back stretch to go, and then they will bring the green flag out again. The pace truck is going to pull in, the field under the control of Dane Bentvelsen once again. The number 32 puts the power down, gets a great start, an excellent jump, and the same for Todd Hobson as well. Puts himself into 2nd coming into turn 1 off the restart, but it looks like Mitchell Broom holding off the advance well with some extra throttle application around the outside. Hobson forced down low, and we've got another car over and around. Who is that? Looks like it might not be a caution. It is Kyle Mock, the number 1 car, and he immediately escapes back to the pits, and there is no caution for that one. Kyle Leon has also suffered issues. He is back in the pits. So now that brings our race retirements up to 4, I believe. Dane Bentvelsen has not gotten away with this as good as he did off the initial start. He's facing a lot of pressure from Broom, and he has got Temby and Hobson fighting just as hard behind him there too. Broom almost getting into the wall a couple of times. He is really facing the pressure here.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Tim Harris is even in there. So Broome's in the ball. Hobson jigs up. And now the car of Mitchell Broome is around, and there's a big shove further behind.
It's huge, and it looks like a few cars involved in that one. Dylan Williams, Tim Harris, a race director Brady Baldwin, and Harley Parr as well with some problems. And Williams is going to have to retire from this one, as is William Lucas. And it looks like Ryan Harris has not been able to get onto his wheels again either. So that is a big shame for Ryan. Was 10th in the championship coming into this round, but it looks like that reality is going to fall short.
Yeah, it certainly is, unfortunately. But 8 cars involved in it. It's not quite, but pretty much half of the cars that were still running. So really, really odd incident, and really unfortunate for a number of those drivers. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on in, because now Temby's in P2 and Hobson's in P3. So it's going to be all about what happens from here on in. And Amy Shute is in P4. So they're lining themselves up for a perfect run to the finish here with this championship.
That they are. Reminder, the A-main points for the top 4 positions, it's 50 for a win, 45 for second, 43 for third, and 41 for 4th place. So as things are at the moment, the way they're sitting in that top 4, Temby is still on top. If Hobson wants to finish in P1 in the championship, he's going to have to hope for some problems for Temby. He'll probably have to finish outside the top 6 for that to come true for Todd Hobson. And here we go. They're away, and they've actually gone early there. The pace truck hadn't gone into the pits after that. And, Amy Shute getting together with Todd Hobson up on the high line. Shute manages to get ahead into turn 3. That's excellent stuff there. But have a look at Blake Walsh sticking himself right in the middle of all of this. Hobson is actually in trouble here, facing a big advance. Luke Redpath making contact with him, and Luke Sayer as well in the mix.
Yeah, Hobson's championship is slowly slipping away, and rather quickly, actually, with the number of drivers he's coming under pressure from. So this isn't going too well for Todd Hobson, but at the front of the field currently, Temby's just absolutely checked out from everyone else.
Temby has done exactly what he needs to do to secure this title. He's managed to find something in that car to allow him to extend that gap, and it is on for second place, because Amy Shute going for the move on Dane Bentbelsen, trying the slide job. Bentbelsen might just respond here. There's such close racing between the 59 and the 32, but Shute with the greater momentum around the outside. A little bit too much of a V shape there for Dane Bentbelsen. He's falling back there into third. Shute gets into the wall. That's going to give Bentbelsen another opportunity to try and get second back.
Yeah, it certainly is going to look up the inside as Bentbelsen, but Shute going to drive back underneath out of turn number 2 as they head into turn number 3. Shute's going to throw a slide job into 3, and now Bentbelsen's going to drive back underneath out of turn 4.
Wow, great racing between these two, and they've been fighting hard like this all season. With Blake Walsh there sitting in P4, this is going to help him out. Meanwhile, for Todd Hobson, he's managed to break free of Luke Sayer. He is now sitting in 5th is Todd Hobson, but it looks like the gap is just too great for him to make up. He's going to have to hope for another caution to get himself back in the running.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's really dropped off, has Todd Hobson, off the back of this top 4, so he's gonna really have to hope here.
Oh goodness me, I think that was Todd Hobson in the wall there. Not Luke Sayer, our apologies. Luke Sayer in the wall and falling back, so Todd Hobson now has no pressure behind him, and the fight between Dane Bentbelsen and Blake Walsh, now that Shute has cleared Bentbelsen, Dane is just not able to find the pace that he had in the first part of this race. And there goes Hobson up the inside of Walsh, tries the slide shot, but it ultimately doesn't work. Bentbelsen going to be helped a little bit by this, but it looks like he might be under threat for a podium if Hobson can get it together.
Yes, certainly will be. As
Temby's in the wall! No! Chris Temby is over, and the caution is out! Goodness me! That might have just saved Temby there. He was just ahead of Todd Hobson when the caution came out. Oh my goodness, an absolute heart attack moment for our championship leader. He resumes position ahead of Todd Hobson, but Dane Bentvelsen ultimately up into second, and Amy Shute in the lead for this third caution. Is it second?
I believe this is the third caution, but this race just got turned on its end. Who would have thought that Temby would have ended up in the wall?
Yeah, well, actually, Temby has been given an end-of-line penalty by race control for being the car that brought out the caution. So this has jeopardized his championship completely. I can't believe this. Everything's just turned on its head when we're coming into the final 10 laps of this race. Of course, the rules are that the car that brings out a caution is automatically given an end-of-line penalty by race control. So Chris Temby has seen this slip out of his fingers potentially right at the final hurdle, and it's a single file restart as well. So he's not going to have much opportunity to gain more positions. Here we go then. What should be the final restart of the night. Amy Shute in the lead up on the top, and she goes early, straight lines it towards the start-finish line, and we are away for the final time here at Eldora. As it stands, it looks like Todd Hobson might take the title with Chris Temby as far back as he is. But have a look at Hobson fighting with Dane Bentvelsen. Amy Shute is given the advantage by this. She steams ahead in the number 59. Have a look at Blake Walsh mixing it here for a podium position. He could potentially take this. He has taken it from Dane Bentvelsen. So Bentvelsen back into 4th place. Now, how is Temby going? He's currently in 8th. The gap is too small for him to keep the championship lead from that position. Todd Hobson is sitting pretty for the title here.
Yeah, he certainly is. Hobson just needs to put in some clean and consistent laps. He doesn't need to risk it. He just needs to finish here and he'll be crowned champion, but there's every chance. Oh no, he's in the wall!
Oh, goodness me, you cannot write a script for this. Dane Bentvelsen had to check up and he's lost 2 positions out of that. Bentvelsen now over and into the wall. He is out of contention for the championship. It's all gone off here in the final 10 laps at Eldora. Hobson back in the wall again. He needs to turn in a little bit earlier if he wants to keep this title.
He certainly does, and Temby's now up inside the top 5 as well. It's all going off, and it's a 3-wide scrap for the second place between Baldwin, Walsh, and Hobson. They're all throwing slide jobs at each other, diving and ducking. It's nothing in it. It's contact between between Baldwin and Hobson, and it's all going on. But here comes Temby, who's not too far behind, but the laps are ticking down.
Yeah, Temby is now behind Hobson. Hobson with a very poor run over the last few laps, and Temby, it looks like, has, with the positions that he's lost there, has Hobson. That means that Temby is back in the effective championship lead, and problem for Baldwin. Oh, nearly cleaning up Todd Hobson there, but they both managed to get through to Temby and Hobson. They now dice with them, and Todd Hobson with 2 cars between himself and Chris Temby. It could potentially now just be one. Oh, Baldwin around, Temby back ahead. He's back in the championship lead. Amy Shute is completely untroubled by all of this. She is on her lonesome in that first place, but it's Hobson in second and Temby in third. Even if he does get passed by Blake Walsh here, Temby will still have enough points in hand to take the title. It is the second last lap, and white flag is going to be shown imminently for our race leader, Amy Shute. Hobson just... Oh no, Temby back into the wall. Oh, goodness me. This is all going off. Temby is just trying to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat here. So is Hobson. He's back ahead. Amy Shute is going to take victory here as she rounds the final corner. But it looks like Todd Hobson, despite finishing in second, is not going to take the title from Chris Temby. Temby finishes on the podium, and he is the champion.
What? I don't think you can even describe what just happened in this race. That has to be one of the most climactic finishes to a championship that you ever see in dirt racing.
This track, I absolutely Eldora it. Man, what a round to finish off the 6-round Super Series Invitational. Chris Temby and Todd Hobson, all of our championship contenders had an interesting one there. But Amy Shute rising above it all to break through for her first feature win. Definitely one of the stories of the night there. But Chris Temby, with that third place finish, he manages to just keep the championship from Todd Hobson. What a conclusion to this series.
Yeah, 100%. It's been an awesome, awesome series, and you could not have asked for a better finish to it either. That is just unbelievable.
I mean, how was the comeback there from Chris Temby? Getting that end of line penalty from race control. We thought it was all over for him, but then Todd Hobson having his issues getting on the restart. Temby just surging through to take that third place finish. Well, it looks like we have drivers in the booth ready to be interviewed. And naturally, I think the first guy we're going to go to is he did finish third on track. But Chris Temby, it looks like with that third place finish, you have done enough to secure the championship from Todd Hobson.
Yeah, by the looks of it, I have. If I haven't, it'll be pretty close. But yeah, but I think I have. It's been a really exciting series. Like just the last few rounds, as you've seen, probably ever since the hit at Knoxville, just haven't really been really in contention except for Kokomo, and then I made a little mistake or driver over there. But yeah, tonight until I made that mistake while I was leading, we've had a pretty good run. So can't really complain. Yeah.
Just take us through that, because we had one hell of a heart attack up here in the comms box when you went over. Was it just a case of turning it in a bit too late? Because it seems like these wingless sprints around Eldora, you really have to commit to the corner early.
Yeah, you definitely do. Like, that's it. I just got it in. Probably went in a little bit too hot, and then tried to turn the car a bit too much. And yeah, just got the right rear in there too much. And that's all she wrote when we were leading, really. Amy Shute was coming on pretty strong from what I could see. So the pressure was kind of building there a little bit because I know she was close in the points. So, yeah, just driver error. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. Just take us through your final run in the race, because obviously, having brought out that final caution, you were given an end of line penalty by race control, so you had to work your way back up there from the very back of the running order. How did it feel, and what kind of challenges were you facing as you tried to pass cars and get back up onto the podium?
Yeah, like I think the car may have been a little bit bent from it, which like that happens, whether you're in real life or on this. But yeah, just the only real challenge is really just racing cars. I didn't really need to race. Like it was a good race there with Blake at the end. Just like I could have been if I was maybe I didn't make so many mistakes in the lead up or while I was battling Blake. May have been like on well almost battling Todd really. But yeah, it was just a couple of people like kind of slide up to the top and like just wash away your momentum. But yeah, like honestly, it wasn't that hard because it wasn't really that difficult, I'd say, because some of the cars had already been on the infield that were back there already. So you kind of really had the fast guys to contend with. So that it was moving, and yeah, I honestly couldn't be happier.
I bet you couldn't. You now have a sim title in the books. So with the success and particularly your form at the start of the season, are you looking towards the future for virtual sprint car racing, or is your mind going to go back to the real life stuff pretty soon?
Well, for now it'll be just doing a little having some fun on here, I guess. And then we're kind of rolling with like yeah, mine's always on the real world stuff. Like that's the goal. That's what drives you. This is just for a bit of fun, but yeah, it's definitely going back onto the real world stuff.
Well, Chris Temby, we thank you for joining us in the commentary box, and we send the biggest of congratulations to you for holding on to take the title. Before we let you go, any shout outs, any sponsors, who gets it done for you?
I'd like to thank Temby Haulage, Victoria Lane Race Gear, Auto Barn Tyre Warren, local print shop, Air Anywhere, Beretta, Race Products. Yeah, they're the guys that gets it done for us in the real world, and mum and dad, of course. They're probably my biggest backers. So, yeah, and yeah, also thanks to you guys for putting on some good broadcasting. AWSR for getting behind the series. Blackshaw's, I think it is. The Tyre Factory Warrnambool. And of course, local print shop again. For putting in on the series, and also well done to Brady putting the series together, making it what it was. So yeah, that's it.
Your series champion, Chris Temby. Big congratulations once again. Well, we have talked to the champion, and now Cam, you're stood by with second place on track, and a guy who put up one heck of a fight was Todd Hobson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Todd, you did a really, really good job over the course of the season, and you did a pretty good job as well on track tonight. So well done, but it wasn't quite the championship that you hoped it to be.
No, we just couldn't get a win, you know. We were consistent every week, but we had a bit of bad luck the last few rounds since I last spoke to you. But yeah, tonight was just on my behalf. I sort of screwed up, tapping the wall, and just trying to go a bit too hard to chase Amy there. But Amy drove a flawless race. Temby drove a good race too until he crashed. So I did want to see that personally, but you know, what can you do? We had our Endurico Russell Steele V83 pretty much on the move the entire season. We just needed a bit more luck.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the results that came in for you guys, but overall, with the fact that this series has been the way it has for you, regardless of the result, have you enjoyed it at all?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Beats doing nothing, that's for sure. It's great. It's actually a really unique experience racing against a lot of guys I race in person. So, yeah, thanks to Brady and the AWSR crew for putting everything up. You know, we've had a ball doing it, and hopefully, maybe in some time next winter we can do it again.
You know, certainly, hopefully it is. Well, with the fact that this series anyway is over, are you hoping to possibly explore more of the virtual world in the near future, or is it more going to be just a matter of focusing on the real life stuff?
I try to get on the sim stuff as much as I can. I've been doing sim racing for about 7 years now, doing R Factor midgets and all that. But I dabble around on iRacing once or twice a week when I can. But definitely, I maintain 3 race cars, so I got to pull my finger out and get into those soon, so we're not stuck before the season starts.
Yeah, well, certainly all the best for the real life season. Well, before I let you go, just any thanks and any shout outs you want to give.
Yeah, I'd just like to, let me get them up just for a sec. I'd just like to thank my partners Endurico, Russell Steel Sales, JB Speedway Spares, Cool Freighters. If I can get my car up, I can see what else is on it. Sorry, 2 secs. Just so I don't miss anyone, otherwise I'll get it rain for it. Van Meveren Law, we got. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get it up. This is really unprofessional. Polish and Shine, Ramsdale Wreckers, Quick Time Automotive. We got Fast Print MX kits, Soul Electrical, CWI Shocks, Pierce Performance, and Tile Button Motorsport and Media.
Well, very, very good to talk to you once again, Todd, and all the best for the real life season and some events you may do in the future. Well, Reese, that was the championship, and what a show it was.
What a show indeed. I'm still trying to get my breath back from the second half of that feature. It looked like Chris Temby's championship was in complete jeopardy, but he fought back and he put in a fantastic drive to finish on the podium. Of course, we can't forget our feature winner, Amy Shute. Unfortunately, she's not able to join us here in the commentary box, and I would really have liked to have had a chat to her and talked about that, because that was one of the best drives I've seen Amy Shute put on this season. Fantastic way to break through for that feature win right at the end of the season. Well, that brings to an end proceedings for tonight and for the championship. We hope that you've enjoyed SimSpeed TV's coverage of the Australian wingless sprint racing iRacing Super Series Invitational. Ultimately, it is Chris Temby who is your series champion, but hey, it was a very hard-fought title, and we saw what a lot of drivers were capable of in the sim world in this series. From all of us at SimSpeed TV, we want to say a big thanks to the supporters of this series, the Tyre Factory Warrnambool and local print shop, and a big thanks to our race director, Brady Baldwin, for putting this whole thing on in the first place. Certainly a pleasure for me, a pleasure for Cam and for Fonty as well in the director's seat. It's bye for now, but not forever.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top here.
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go!
Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?